It was a little past 12:45 a.m. when Ethan Miller, the night shift stocker at the Pine Ridge Walmart, noticed something strange. The store was unusually quiet, a silence so complete he could hear the buzz of the overhead lights, the distant hum of refrigerators in the frozen food aisle, even the faint tapping of rain on the roof. Ethan dragged a pallet of paper towels toward aisle 12, yawning through the end of another long night. At 32, he wasn't where he expected to be in life, working the night shift at a Walmart in a small town of barely 5,000 people. But he didn't complain. It was honest work, and the nights were peaceful. Well, usually. Tonight wasn't one of those nights. As he turned the corner past aisle 14, home goods, his foot nudged something soft, something that shouldn't have been there. A blanket. Not the kind Walmart sold, but an old, worn one. Pink, faded, with little cartoon cats printed across it, the kind a child would carry around. Ethan frowned and crouched down. "What on earth?" The blanket shifted. He jerked back, heart hammering. Something or someone was underneath it. Very slowly, he lifted the edge of the fabric. A pair of wide hazel eyes stared back. A little girl, no older than 7, curly brown hair, dirt smudged on her cheeks, wearing pajamas under an oversized hoodie. She clutched a half-eaten granola bar as if she'd been interrupted mid-bite, and she looked absolutely terrified. Ethan raised both hands, palms out. Hey, it's okay. I'm not gonna hurt you." The girl pushed herself backward against the shelf, knocking over a roll of wrapping paper. It clattered to the floor. Her breaths were sharp and shaky. "What's your name?" Ethan asked softly. She hesitated, eyes darting toward both ends of the aisle as if she was afraid someone else might appear. "Lila," she whispered. "Hi, Lila. I'm Ethan." He kept his voice calm, steady. "Are you lost?" Her head shook quickly. "No." He blinked. "Did you get separated from your parents?" Another shake. "Is someone with you?" "No." For a moment, Ethan didn't understand. Then Lila whispered the words that made the hair on the back of his neck rise. "I live here." Ethan stared at her, unsure if he heard correctly. "Sweetheart? You mean you got stuck here while shopping?" "No." Her voice trembled. "I live here now. Mommy said we had to stay hidden until she came back, but she didn't come back." Ethan felt cold all over. "How long have you been here?" Lila opened her mouth, but before she could answer, a loud crash echoed across the store. Metal, heavy, deliberate, not an accident. Someone else was here, someone who wasn't supposed to be. Ethan froze where he stood, instincts kicking in. The crash hadn't come from a customer or a coworker. He knew that instantly. There were only 3 employees on the night shift, and he could account for all of them. Mark was in the back unloading the delivery truck. Tessa was running price audits near the pharmacy. No one should have been in the far corner of the store, certainly not at this hour. Lila pulled her blanket around her like a shield. Her small fingers trembled, clutching the worn fabric. "Is he back?" she whispered. Ethan knelt beside her again. "Who, Lila? Who's back?" She didn't answer. She just stared past him, toward the darkness at the end of the aisle, as if expecting something, or someone, to emerge from it. Another sound followed, a dragging noise, slow, rhythmic, like something heavy being pulled across the floor. Ethan stood up quickly. "Okay, we need to get you somewhere safe." Lila hesitated, but when he extended his hand, she took it, only for a moment, before yanking it back anxiously. I can't go to the front," she whispered. "He looks there first." "Who does?" Her lips pressed together tightly. Ethan exhaled. Obviously, she wasn't ready to explain. "Fine. First priority, safety. Answers could come later." He motioned for her to follow and led her to the employee-only door near housewares. The little room inside, part break room, part supply closet, wasn't much, but it was out of sight and had a lock. As soon as the door closed behind them, Lila crawled onto a chair, hugging her knees. Ethan crouched down in front of her. "Lila, how long have you been here?" She stared at the floor. 3 nights. 3 nights? His voice cracked from shock. "You slept in the aisles?" She nodded. "Mommy said she'd come back. She told me to hide and be brave. Said she had to meet someone to get help and that I should stay inside where it's warm." Her voice wavered. But she didn't come back. Ethan's stomach twisted. A missing mother, a terrified child, and now a stranger wandering the store after midnight. Something terrible was happening. He stood, grabbed the break room phone, and discovered the cord dangling uselessly from the wall. Cut. Someone had torn it out deliberately. At that exact moment, the security monitor flickered. Lines of static danced across the screen, then stabilized just long enough for Ethan to see a tall figure walking through the aisles. Not a customer, not a coworker, not anyone he recognized. The man paused beside a display of children's shoes, head turning sharply toward the camera, as if he could somehow sense he was being watched. Then the feed went black. Lila covered her ears, shaking. "He's looking for me," she whispered. "He wants something from Mommy. And now, he wants me." Ethan touched her shoulder gently. "You're safe with me. I promise." But even as he said it, heavy footsteps echoed outside the break room door, slow, intentional, getting closer. The footsteps stopped just outside the break room door. Not in front of it, beside it. As if the man was listening, as if he already knew someone was inside. Ethan held a finger to his lips, signaling Lila to stay quiet. Her breathing grew shallow, shaky, barely audible over the humming vending machine in the corner. Then came the sound, a slow, dragging scrape along the wall, metal against plaster. The man was carrying something heavy, something sharp. Ethan's hand instinctively reached for the nearest object he could use as a weapon, a metal broom handle leaning against the fridge. Not ideal, but better than nothing. The lights flickered. The footsteps moved again, this time toward the back exit. The emergency slider door rattled, then fell silent. He's checking the exits, Ethan realized, making sure no one leaves. Lila tugged on Ethan's sleeve. Her whisper was barely a breath. "He knows the cameras don't work anymore." Ethan blinked. "What do you mean?" Lila looked down, twisting her fingers together. "Mommy said the cameras in the back are broken. She said the man works with someone here. Someone who lets him in after closing." Ethan's blood ran cold. Someone in the store. Someone on staff. Had disabled security. This wasn't just a random trespasser. This was planned. "Lila," Ethan said carefully, "why was your mom meeting this man? What does he want?" She hesitated, like a child trying to decide whether keeping a secret was safer than telling the truth. "My mom found something," she whispered. "Something she wasn't supposed to know." Ethan leaned closer. "Know about what?" "The shipments." A chill crawled down his spine. Shipments. The delivery trucks came 3 times a week, late at night when few employees were around. Ethan had always thought the boxes seemed off. No labels, no barcodes, drivers who never talked. "You mean the trucks?" Ethan asked, voice low. Lila nodded. "Mommy worked in the back room. She said the boxes didn't have real inventory. She said they were hiding things inside. Illegal things. Dangerous things. Contraband that needed a place to pass unnoticed. A massive corporation like Walmart was the perfect cover." Lila continued, voice cracking. "She tried to tell someone, but the man found out. He said he'd make her disappear if she talked." Ethan's jaw clenched. "And she told you to hide here?" She said people don't look for kids in big stores. She said she'd come get me when it was safe. She was protecting you, Ethan whispered. Lila nodded, tears spilling over. But she never came back. Before he could respond, the store lights cut out completely. Darkness swallowed everything. The sound of the break room doorknob turning echoed in the pitch black. Slowly, deliberately, the man had found them. The break room door rattled violently, jerking against the frame. Lila whimpered, pressing herself into the corner, clutching her tiny blanket as if it were armor. Ethan gripped the broom handle tighter, forcing himself to breathe slowly. The darkness made everything worse. The room felt smaller, the air heavier, the danger closer. Then the door went still. Silence. Too much silence. Ethan strained to hear anything. Footsteps, breathing, movement. But the store had gone eerily quiet, almost expectant, as if it were holding its breath. The emergency lights flickered on, dim, red, barely enough to outline shapes in the room. Lila's face was pale. "He's not gone," she whispered. "He waits. Mommy said he always waits." Ethan crouched down. "We're leaving. Now." He guided her to the back hallway, keeping low, ears alert for any sign of the man. The air smelled faintly of dust and cardboard, the scent of storage rooms and forgotten spaces. They reached the inventory corridor lined with towering shelves of merchandise not yet unpacked. Lila tugged Ethan's shirt. "Mommy hid something," she whispered. "She said if anything happened to her, I should give it to someone I trust." Ethan glanced down. "Do you have it?" She nodded and reached into her oversized hoodie, pulling out a small USB drive wrapped in tape. Ethan felt the weight of the moment. "This is why he's after you." "She said it proves everything," Lila breathed. "What's in the shipments? Who's involved?" "Everything." A clang echoed from the far end of the corridor. Not close, yet, but coming. Ethan pulled Lila behind a stack of pallets and whispered urgently, "There's an emergency exit behind the storage cages. If we can reach it—" "No." Lila shook her head. "Mommy said he watches the exits. He waits near them, always." So the man wasn't just wandering, he was hunting. A new sound echoed, a voice this time, low, cold, controlled. "Lila, come out." Her entire body tensed. Ethan stood protectively in front of her. "Stay behind me." The voice drifted again, tauntingly calm. "Your mother made things difficult, sweetheart. But you don't have to. Give me what she took, and I'll make this quick." Ethan felt rage boil in his chest. "You're not touching her," he shouted back. The man's laugh echoed through the shelves, dark, casual, as if he'd heard all this before. "Oh, Ethan, you really think you can stop me? The people I work for own this place. They own the cameras, the back room, the trucks. They even own the night shift." Ethan stiffened. He knew that voice. He'd heard it 100 times. It was Mark, his co-worker, the one unloading trucks in the back. But Mark stepped into view now, and Ethan saw the truth. He wasn't in his uniform anymore. He wore black gloves, a tactical jacket, and, in his hand, the metal bar scraping against the floor. Mark smiled. "You weren't supposed to find her?" Ethan glanced at Lila. She was trembling. "Run," Ethan whispered. "When I say so, run." Mark lunged. Ethan swung the broom handle. The impact cracked through the corridor. "Lila, go!" She sprinted into the maze of shelves. Mark roared and shoved Ethan to the floor, raising the metal bar again. "If she escapes," Mark hissed, "you die first." But before he could strike, a voice echoed from behind him. A woman's voice, weak but alive. "Step away from my daughter."